And those objects are layered one on top of another. The most top things are visible well and are visible above all other things, while the others are not, kind of stacking on top of another. And that creates our layer system in Blender. And I'm basically taking a circle and taking all the vertices and aligning them. And sometimes I need more. So I use Control R to create more vertices where I need them. For instance, a bunch here on this line. Always creates it in the direct middle. And I'm still getting used to the controls, so forgive the choppiness and potentially the inefficiency when I'm switching jobs. But in essence, we create layer by layer, piece by piece, try to get not as smooth as possible without wasting a whole bunch of vertices. The actual number pad is a godsend. I was wondering, why would I ever need that? Every time I look at videos, they're like, you need a number pad, otherwise you're in a world of hell to navigate your image. And I was like, I could do that with a mouse, right? Not so much, not so much. Some things like scrolling work, shift middle mouse button, and they're nice to kind of pan the image, but that's about it. All the other pieces like rotations, for instance, if I rotate accidentally, my background image is gone, so I have to press 7 to align myself directly on top. Otherwise, I'll be trying to fight these angles, and I don't think I'm gonna be successful in getting that image back with manual rotation. So pressing 7 basically resets that view. Reasons number pad is godsend. Okay, need more vertices for the jacket. Nope, it's the scarf. Of course, you are layering pieces amongst another, which can be confusing which vertex belongs to what. Just to move it, I right click on the point vertex I'm interested and press G to start the move. And then a left click, important there. Left click to fortify that command and apply it. So right click, select G. What the heck is this one? It's like a extra limb. What are you doing? Serious? What is this? Eek. Okay. And piece by piece, we align the design that I've created in GIMP. Super simple design, little character I have. And then try get all the straight vertices or straight sides. Oops. Try to getting them, and anytime I curve, I try and create an extra little vertice space. Of course, I'm not 100% following the image, but it's a good guideline. Okay, so kind of going back, good. I've got some extra vertices here I can muster. Kind of push them this way. And since technically the scarf is in the background, or in the foreground, I don't have to be too extremely correct with the upper shoulders since they'll be hidden underneath the scarf. And that's kind of it for the main course, but later it's trying to align them well, one on top of another. Oop. Almost there. Cool. Trying to keep it somewhat choppy and organic, like a drawing, since it is indeed a drawing, and I'm working in a 3D pane. So, okay, so I've created all the vertices I need for that jacket, but if we do notice, the face has a color, the scarf has a color, but this is somewhat see-through, and you can tell, it's really hard to tell, but notice the background squares you can see here, but are not visible here. So that's kind of how you can tell what's colored and not. Okay, so how do we color it? Make sure you're in edit mode, and then F. No, Control F. No, what was the button? Shift F. Nope, that was not it. That's first person mode. Oh, first select a single vertex of that object. Control L to select every single vertex, so now you can kind of see the outline of that whole jacket, and then press F. Cool. And that's the fill. But do take notice that technically the scarf's on top, so this is a bit of a problem. A bit. What we need to do is first notice the arrows here we have in the middle, green up, red right. We've got ourselves the x-axis and the y-axis, and accordingly the z-axis towards the screen. So we essentially want to grab this with G. Now I'm kind of free form. Remember, it won't actually settle until we place it somewhere. Then press the Z key to lock it. We're locking it on the Z-axis. Cool, so Z, and then you can kind of see the interaction of the object. So right now, our shirt is on top, now it's on bottom. If I do take a look, we do see the layering, but I don't need it this much. Just need it enough to show the scarf clearly. And then it's a very thin layer there. Cool. Alright, so I've got that down. Now to add the color, still in edit mode. So on the right side I've got myself the little coloring material space, and I've got two materials already, skin color and scarf. I'm going to add another one for jacket. So just this is the confusing space for any regular image editors. You're actually creating an object that saves this information. So at the initial click of the plus sign, you're going to see an empty object, nothing here. You want to essentially create it as a new material, and then you get plenty of details. Now, a good habit is to rename this. Best way to rename it, as soon as you create it, right here, just Control A and type in what you're using there. Press enter and boom. Then we can grab our color scheme, and since I'm kind of using a simple gray color, it was lighter than my jacket. I think I had a shirt like this at one point. Sorry, lighter than the scarf. So I'm gonna apply some lighter gray somewhere over here. Still dark but light. Now it's useful also if you find colors that you like. I tried to figure out how to use this little eyedropper in Blender, but it's not so smooth with background images. So I opened up a new GIMP window, and then I just kind of drop the dropper inside, pick a color, get the hexadecimal value, and then paste it here. So that's one way you can work with those. Okay, so that's gonna grab that. And even though this is still, we can see the color applied to this material, but it's not applied to our jacket. Well, it's because it's saved, but it's not quite used yet. Nothing is using it. So we just click on the assign, and that'll now give us our lighter gray jacket. Might have to play with the colors, but this is just kind of basics there. So that's the process. You just layer every little piece, and here I'll start the pants just so you see it, but it's basically the same thing each time. Find the simple shape that works well. I've used the circle, but the pants look more like a rectangle. So Shift A, get a plane. It's got only, yeah, see there's not a lot of vertices, so I gotta create more of the manual ones here, but that's fine. A few things, we want to resize this, so S, and there's freeform. So the cool thing about Blender is after you click any transformation process, resize, rotate, whatever, you can press now X, Y, or Z to focus on a certain axis. So that's Y, that's X, and Z is an up and down 3D motion, so you won't see anything happen there. But I want to make an X here. I press G to grab this, kind of align it, and start on working. So what do I need to do? I need to create more vertices. Control R. Oh. Yep. Yes. No. That's split my pants. Literal. Control R. Oh wait, I think I'm okay. So the problem here is no, I am here. Okay, so it's okay. That's interesting. I don't know why it's connecting all the way down there, but I guess I'm splitting it, but still maintaining this sizing. This is much different than my circle, so maybe I'm just gonna go to circle since it's got a pretty good set of vertices in the first place. So Shift A, circle, align my pants. Right there. Okay, so I gotta use the keyboards. It's much nicer to use the keyboard shortcuts. And then size X. And then zoom on in, start chiseling away. Control G, just G. Get the little undercut there with the pants. Got a belt there, so I gotta create my own little object for the belt as well. And then, of course, adding on extra little details like the pockets in the same manner. And just make sure everything's hovering above the pants if you want them to be seen, or if it's something in the background you want to G and then on the Z axis move it backwards. For now, sadly, I'm going to cut this guy up to his knees. Eventually I'll finish the drawing since it's not really completely finished. And let's grab a little bit of a curve there for his tiny junk. Keeping it PG. PG some age. And going down. Cool. And it's honestly, it's a little bit trippy to right click to select, see? Right click to select and then left click to apply, because normally you're thinking, oh, left click is the primary clicker in any sort of situation on a computer. And Blender's like, nah, hold my beer. So you gotta right click to select, G to commence the moving, and then left click to set it down and apply. Cool, so that's there. Control L to select everything again. F to fill, pants, new texture, new here. And bam, let's make it a jeansy color. What's a jeansy color? Like a darkish blue but with less saturation. Yeah, something like that. Assign them pantaloons, and boom. Cool. And then I gotta do the hands and the rest. So that's kind of the basics. I'll probably do a little bit more in the animation aspect once I finish this model. It's very useful to save certain setups. For instance, this setup for my editing here, if you see in object mode, it's a single object right now. But I have multiple layers. My second layer contains my camera. Cool, there it is. And my image background is visible in my second layer. My first layer is containing the actual image I'm modifying. So I put the camera with M, you press M, well, first select, press M, move to the layer you wish. There it is, now it's in 3. And this helps out by keeping you informed of where our main camera focus is, where the image is, and not having this camera in front of the image the whole time. So we kind of start clicking on the camera by accident. But after I kind of set up the camera in this form, it's not too crazy. The very initial loading of this project normally has a cube in the middle, and then it has some camera in some location, random location, not really random, it's a standard location, but it's like up here, and it's kind of facing like this, right? So if it's facing like this and you're like, well, how do I make my camera look like this? And that's actually pretty bad because it's below my image. I just noticed that. So I just grab this, throw it up here. Okay, that's fine. So yeah, how do I get the camera to do that? Well, first you do Control R, or Alt R, and that'll kind of reset the rotation facing down. You want to go into the camera settings at the end and click orthographic. So this is the type that's going to give us a better scene of a, I believe, 18 by 9? 19 by 8? Well, dyslexia kills me, but that high resolution, 16 by 9, I think, okay, whatever. But the high resolution versus your typical smaller camera view. There is a way to go inside the camera. 0? Yeah, so this is my main camera space here, and then this one's kind of secondary, so. But yeah, so after that, G it, forget how to reset it to the center. But basically you can shift it around with G and get it to a nice point. I've already done that. I've already got a camera and it's on my third view layer and my other layers. And of course you don't want the cube, so you delete. And 7 was the key to focus straight down. Zoom on in, shift, middle mouse drag is going to give you this panning. If you do it without the shift, you're going to do the rotation and lose the background, so you got to press 7 on the keyboard to get back to it. And it really does take a lot of practice, so just to get used to keys, let alone the rest of the process that I'm going to go through. But I will put more videos as it gets a little bit more complicated. Just wanted to show you this little detail. Gracias for watching. Peace.